But at the Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting, some of you were at the other night, a father from South Beach Street talked about his son having to get on the bus at 6:20 a.m. and talked about, just think about those of us who brought up children, getting a kid up around 5:15 in the morning to catch a 6:20 bus. What's the reason for that?
I think we discussed this at one meeting earlier in the school year. So a lot of the routes that run that South Beach corridor will also run the Brown Ave corridor. So those are your Memorial and your Southside buses that travel all the way down to the Litchfield line. So those kids might get picked up at 6:20 because within 40 minutes they're getting dropped off at Memorial or at Southside Middle School. So that would be the reason why, because you have to
Yeah, I just can't imagine a parent having to deal with that and getting a kid ready for school. Anybody else comment on that?
It's funny that you, because I had already written down, that was my question, not related to this, but there was a gentleman who said that originally, it was the same gentleman that you're referencing. Originally, their child was getting picked up, let's say 6:50, and then there was a route change of some sort, and then the pickup time moved to 6:25. And so they have to wake their child up at 5:45 to get a 6:25 pickup. And just based on what you said, like, I think it's also reasonable, like a 30-minute run seems reasonable, but that would mean a pickup time. If we're talking about middle school, which the bell rings at 7:20, let's even say generously the bus is pulling into that middle school at 7:10. A reasonable route, in my opinion, for within the city would be, maybe a pickup at 6:40, which would be a half an hour on the bus and dropping at their middle school at 7:10, or even 6:45, dropping at 7:15 for a 7:20 start. And it's not a one-off, because I was speaking with a parent of a McLaughlin student, and I checked, because I was like, that can't be right. And I actually went and looked at the routes, and there's a 6:18 pickup. So it leaves the transit station at, just after 6 to go pick up a 6:18 pickup start time when middle school doesn't start till 7:20. So I think it's my opinion that, and I'm not trying to make more work for anyone, but we really do need to relook at those routes, because that seems, and this isn't a personal slight or anything, it just seems ridiculous that we would have students getting picked up that early for a 7:20 start. So I mean, I am in 100% agreement that, if we can change that route, even if that does mean, some, yeah, I don't know. I would love.
Getting the student out of the house probably at 6:10.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, because,
You very well
Can't
could be.
imagine.
yeah, you absolutely could
We
be.
do take into account, though, the travel time. So every time a student boards,
Oh, sure, I'm sorry. So we do take in the travel time. So when you think about those buses that are traveling South Beach Street or traveling down Brown Ave, we take into consideration the time of day that they're traveling. What's the travel, what is the motoring public doing at that time? What are the different lights that they're going to hit along the way, so that everything is really kind of factored into that. And we have a software that actually does that for us. And sure, we could have, maybe a student being picked up and within 30 minutes they're going to go to school. But that's not going to happen to a route that goes all the way down almost into Litchfield. It's not going to be a school route for Parkside that goes to the very top of Hackett Hill and is almost into Goffstown. Because unfortunately, Front Street and Brown Ave, you're going to have a lot of time that has to be built in to travel those roadways that are heavily traveled in the morning. You've got UPS down on Brown Ave, you've got all your airport traffic, Front Street, you've got the college. These are all those cut-throughs that, the general motoring public uses to come in and out of the city. So that's what the buses, contend with in those mornings.
Well, I think we've made our point.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's worth a second look
Yeah.
at, because I mean, we're talking about a 12-year-old on the bus for an hour, and I don't travel that road, so I'm not discrediting what you're
Sure.
saying, but it does seem like an hour on a bus with some traffic at 6:15 in the morning. I think it's worth a second look at, in my opinion.
We'll take a
Yeah,
look.
we can absolutely
you.
take a look at them.
Anything else on transportation?